Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to jump back into the sim and have a little bit of a comparison from what the real life experience is now that we've been there and done that through our race weekend at Mondello Park. To jump back in the sim, put on the virtual reality headset and see can we get a feel for what the sim does well and where the sim is lacking. So come along and join me and hopefully you'll learn a couple of things too. Right, so here we are at Oran Park qualifying. So that's in our officials this week in iRacing. We are in a Formula Vee that's been made to look identical to the one we just raced. This Formula Vee, however, is a little bit different. It has a smaller engine compared to real life. Our Formula Vee Ireland runs a 1600cc Volkswagen Beetle Flat 4, whilst in iRacing they run a 1200cc Flat 4 engine with about 60 or 70 horsepower, so we're quite a bit of brake horsepower down. However, the tyre model, I've been reliably informed by a lot of the drivers who have raced this and raced it in the sim, that this tyre model is actually quite good. And having experienced it in the RTA Virtual Motorsport Scholarship, I can attest to that as well, that it's quite similar. And what do I mean by that? So when we're driving and we start to exceed the limit of grip, the tyre behaves essentially in the way that the tyre behaves in a very similar way in the sim than it does in real life, as in when the grip goes, there's a very small threshold as to when the tyres break traction, whether that's understeer when the front tyres are pushing wide or oversteer when the rear pushes wide. When the tyres begin to lose grip, it's a very similar narrow feeling of window when they let grip. It's not exactly the same feeling. So we're just about to start a qualifying lap here. And we're doing the same thing as we would in the sim. We're revving it out to about 6,400 revs. Now in my car, it seemed that my car was running out of puff after 5,800, so this car isn't as quick. So our tyres are still cold. Now what's quite different about, compared to a monitor, this feels like I'm in the car. I don't feel like I'm strapped in or tightened in or anything like that, and I'm certainly not feeling the sense of speed and the sense of, when I first drove this car at Kirkstown, I certainly felt like the thing was carrying me everywhere, as in, you feel like you're being carried along because you're so tightly strapped into a car, you're essentially part of the car, and as the car goes, you feel like you're going with the car. You are a stressed part of the car even though you're tightly strapped in. There is that feeling of, whoa, we're traveling along with this thing. In the sim, I feel, because I'm a bit of an experienced sim driver, I feel like I'm somewhat on top of the car. So we're about to start our final qualifying lap. Press that, I'm going to get it out. That's okay. Definitely when you're leaning on the car, there are similarities as to what the real car feels like, in terms of you obviously don't feel everything through your backside in a real car. You're feeling the sense of when the car's letting go, when the car's rotating, and it's kind of instant how you react to it. But when the visual aspect of it, when the tyres are been leaned on and you feel like you're pushing the limits of what the tyre can do, it's similar. That wall came up quite quickly. We're going to keep driving here even though we finished our checker flag lap. Again, what I like now about this is that compared to it, when I'm using the monitor, I have all the information there. I can see my throttle input, I can see my brake input, I can see everything I'm doing. Whilst in the sim, that's the way it is, but in reality I can only feel what the car is doing in terms of throttle, brake. Am I giving it too much brake? Am I giving it enough? I'm not looking at a bar on the screen to try and match that bar on the screen for throttle and brake input. I know I'm doing similar things to what the sim does. Like the sim will require that I initially brake heavy and then lift off and trail into the corner. And I'm using, in this case, we're using a manual shifter, we're using our right foot to brake, like we do. When I was doing the scholarship, I was using my left foot anytime ever you use the brake. Not that you have to use the brakes too much in these V's and with the track layouts. But all in all, particularly the feeling I have, just sitting back there now, I'm feeling like I'm looking at the cockpit, I'm looking at the racetrack, the view I have of the circuit, it's all very, very similar. And the feeling of the VR headset being on me right now, I certainly feel like it's almost like a helmet being on and you're looking through a visor, although it's if you can imagine a telescope inside your visor, that's kind of what the VR headset looks like when you have it on. It's like peering through a telescope in a way. Now, there are better VR headsets available out there that widen that field of view. However, the view I'm getting, the 3D view here, which you can't see on your screen, it's certainly not the same. It is like sitting in a 3D simulator. From what I can see, you can just see a 2D image. We're using our right foot there to brake to get us the momentum. I feel like in the beginning with VR, if you've not used VR before, it does actually feel very spooky in the sense that you do it does initially start to feel real life, but when you've driven a track and car enough and you've got enough experience around this circuit now, I would have done hundreds of laps in the past, so I kind of know roughly where it goes. So I'm not feeling intimidated by it. But when you come to a circuit, you don't know the difference. Obviously, the stating the obvious thing whereby you can press the reset button in the game, but not in real life. So we look at the results, and as it turns out, we have set the quickest time. Now, there's a few drivers who have not qualified here, so we're actually in pole position for this race. Certainly not one of the quicker times around here. Just having a look around the cockpit here. Like, the truth of it is when you have your helmet on and your hands device on, your head is like, you can move maybe two degrees to the left, 2 degrees to the right. You can barely look up, you can barely look down. When you've got your shoulder straps and tight strapped over your hands device, you cannot really move your head at all. You really can't. It is kind of almost, I wouldn't say suffocating you, but you do feel tight inside the car. You don't feel loose, and if that's the way it's meant to be, so that when the car is going, you're going with it and you're not being thrown about the car. So we're waiting for 5 cars to join the grid. We're just looking at our mirrors there. We can look around us, we can look behind us to see who's there, which in the real car you wouldn't be able to do. You'd be able to, your range of movement would be, that's your range of movement. You don't really, it is kind of a fixed view almost in a way because of how tight you are strapped into the car. So we're going to wait now for the lights here on the right hand side. So here we go. 4,000 revs. Lights are on. Okay, our rival's got a better start. You realize we were there. So we're not using the virtual mirror. I have it turned off just to replicate what it's like, because in the virtual mirror you can see everything, but I'm just using my periscope mirrors here either side of the car. Kind of hope and pray that our rival doesn't try and stick it up the inside of the wrong place. Okay, you obviously had an incident. And we're currently leading. We've got a car just in our mirror there. Don't even know how far it is behind, but we can just about see it, which is just exactly how we have it in the sim, have it in real life. we've got second place guys right in our wheel tracks using our toe. So where's he going to go? We're going to try and make him go around the outside. There he goes. To turn 1, here we go. Done in behind us. That's okay. Oh dear, lost the back end there coming on brakes a little bit too long. Sometimes the tricky bit, I even find sometimes in VR, the tricky bit is trying to slow down enough sometimes and you're carrying too much in and then you have to adjust on the fly. A bit wide there. We do see a brake and throttle trace to the bottom left of our screen there. Ooh, we just ever so slightly glanced the wall. We've pulled a small gap. So 19.5, right, we can do a little bit better than that. And funny enough, what we're getting actually on the sim is a bit of pickup from the dust on the circuit. We're getting a bit of pickup for dust on the circuit as well on our visor. And there is a button in the sim to remove that, but in the helmet I just wipe my hand. I don't have any tear-offs. Wide there. Whoa, and we've lost it. Oh well. It was going so well. So post-edit Kevin here. Just wanted to insert a clip of what it's like to actually lose the car in real life. So this is our test day at Kirkstown. And we're on our probably sixth run of the day, second last run of the day. And just to kind of illustrate the difference there in the game, obviously you can press the ignition and starter button and get yourself going again and find a gear. But with these cars, we're real life carburetors, just to illustrate what that's like in real life. And with flooded carbs and a hot engine, it didn't want to start. So then we get back out. So there you go, mimicking my lack of skill in the sim and also in real life. We're on our last lap. We've recovered to 5th place after the spin, and I hope this video has been somewhat enlightening for you. And it was quite enjoyable putting this together, and it's something I'll look back on for the next time I go out, just to kind of give a reminder. But it's highly useful if you ever are going from the sim to reality. I do recommend getting a virtual reality headset, even if it's not normally your preferred choice. It's great to turn off all of the inputs that you might have within the sim, remove all throttle traces, lap timing boards, because in most club races anyway, that information is not there. So that is fundamentally the biggest difference, I would say, across everything. Luckily for the Formula Vee, with a GPS dash readout in the car, you do get an idea of your lap times. So if you have any questions about what it's like to drive a real car versus the sim, anything I haven't covered there, let me know in the comments and I'll try and get back to you. And I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you'd like that video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like for more, and we'll see you again for the next one. Thanks for watching.